right, hello everyone, and welcome to this week's Zoo to You interview with the Zookeeper edition. This week we are celebrating the National Zookeeper Appreciation Week. I'm your host, Grace, from the Education Department here at Stone Zoo, and today I'm with Zookeeper Bridget to learn about the ins and outs of zookeeping and the importance of her work. But first, a message from our sponsors. Today's Zoo to You is brought to you by MIFA on behalf of the U Fund College Investing Plan. You can learn more about the plan by following the link in our caption. Thank you, fantastic, and thank you, Bridget, for being here with us today. To get started, we have our first question, very important question. How did you get started in this field of work, and were there any people or events that prompted you to get into zookeeping?
Hi, everyone. So sorry. So I actually don't have a very traditional start in zookeeping. A lot of people wanted to be zookeepers from when they were very, very little. I didn't know what I wanted to do after I graduated college. All I knew was that I wanted to work with animals. And so I actually interned here at Stone Zoo in 2011. And I fell in love with zookeeping and the animals that I got to take care of. And I have been doing it ever since.
That's fantastic. I know that you work with many different species here at Stone Zoo. So the next question is, do you have a favorite species that you like to work with?
Well, of course. I work most closely with the snow leopards here at the zoo, as well as the Chicoan peccary. And I have a huge soft spot in my heart for the domestics that we have. I love a goat. I love a sheep. I've been working with the snow leopards since around 2015, so a pretty long time. And they have definitely shaped my career over the past few years, and so much so that I ultimately just recently went to Mongolia with our partners, the Snow Leopard Trust, to learn more about what they're doing.
That's fantastic. It's really cool. And with that, describe a day in the life of zookeeping.
Oh boy. So zookeeping might not necessarily be what everyone thinks is playing with the animals all the time and all of that. We're responsible for a lot of things. We're responsible for horticulture work inside of exhibits. We check behavior of our animals because that's one of the most obvious ways that something might be wrong with an animal is the change in their behavior. So a lot of us specialize in behavior. We're responsible for building things that animals might want to climb on or might house them, all sorts of things. A lot of cleaning as well, so if you're not apt to clean, then this probably is not the field for you. These animals deserve nice clean spaces, and so we provide that for them.
That's awesome, yeah. I guess thinking about the snow leopards that you work with, what excites you most about your work and what's most rewarding?
Yeah. So not just with the snow leopards, but every animal is definitely the relationships that we build with them, teaching them new behaviors during their training programs, stuff like that. Earning trust over time is really, really cool. Some animals, like the Chicoan peccary, it's a lot slower. They're not necessarily the most excited to be around humans, so building that relationship over the course of time has been really, really rewarding, and getting to come here every day, and no matter whether you're having a terrible day, at least you get to hang out with some pretty cool animals.
Yeah, I agree, definitely. And along with that, what is the most challenging aspect of your work?
Oh, geez. I'm going to go ahead and say the same exact thing. The relationships that we build with animals can be very challenging, either through non-compliance for training. They might not feel like doing the behavior you're asking, but also on the flip side, something that you have to think about is that these animals do have shorter lifespans than you, and losing them is very, very difficult. So that's hard, and it's something that you have to kind of prepare yourself for, but ultimately the bond and the experiences that you get to have with them over the course of time is worth that heartbreak.
Totally, 100%. And next question is a piece of advice that you would give to someone thinking about starting in zookeeping or pursuing that field.
Yeah. So, lots of stuff, honestly. The most helpful thing is to get as much experience as you can with a very wide variety of animals if you're able. Any sort of animal care experience with as many species as you could possibly interact with is really great. And then, just like I said before, if you don't like cleaning, maybe take a second and think about what you're doing, because it sure is a lot of that.
Yeah, and what do you know now that you wish you'd known in the beginning of your career?
I think I knew it when I was starting out. It's very obvious that it's very physically and emotionally exhausting work, but after 10 or plus years of doing it, that's more apparent than ever. So you have to really be ready for that, and you have to kind of find coping mechanisms in managing that, and that's really important for this line of work because we can get what's called compassion fatigue, where we're constantly empathetic or sympathetic to the animals and the people around us, and that can be very exhausting.
Is there anything else that I didn't ask you that you'd like to share with our listeners?
I guess the only thing, like I touched on before, I got to go to Mongolia with the Snow Leopard Trust this past spring, and I actually wrote a piece about it, and it's going to be on our conservation blog. So if you're on the website, there's a little button on the top that says conservation blog. You can look for that there in the coming days, and you can learn all about what the Snow Leopard Trust is doing out in Mongolia and the surrounding countries, protecting snow leopards, their habitat, their prey. All of it works together to be very important and something that we need to pay attention to.
Incredible, thank you. Is there any questions from our viewers before we sign off?
How can our viewers celebrate National Zookeeper Appreciation Week?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I think that you're asking me, and I don't speak for everyone, but it all makes me very uncomfortable. I don't really love to be celebrated. I get to do something really incredible, and it's its own reward, and we very much appreciate everyone that has kind things to say about us, because we know that they love the animals just as much as we do. And so really the thing that you can do is keep coming and keep supporting our animals and keep interacting with us on here, and tell us what you like to see, tell us who you like to see, and just keep on sharing your love for all of the animals.
Yeah, you can go around and thank our zookeepers if you see them out in the zoo. And thank you all for coming and visiting our zoo. And thanks everyone for joining us today. That's all we have today. See you next time on Zoo to You.